What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about the college football recruiting process in 2025. So we're going to be talking about some things that you could do as a freshman, a sophomore, a junior in high school to be able to get recruited, but how things are changing nowadays with the transfer portal and the new junior college rules. So if you want to play college football, this is information that you need to know. Then we're going to be getting into a lot of current events that we need to cover. We're going to be talking about the tragic news about Kyren Lacy. Then we're going to be talking about Nico Iamaleava with all the transfer portal news and kind of the BS move that he tried to work against Tennessee, and how I'm in huge favor of Tennessee in that situation. So we're going to talk about that and then answer some questions that you guys have left on a previous episode at the end of this video. So I hope this is able to give you some value. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to be breaking down pretty much like literally everything that you need to know about the college football recruiting process, but in terms of like 2025, like current up-to-date information that I feel a lot of high school prospects know. I feel like there's a ton of information out there, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, about the recruiting process. We post a lot of stuff about it, but we always try to make our stuff current. How is it going to affect you today? Not what it was going to give you maybe 5 years ago, and honestly, maybe even 2 years ago, because the game changes every single year with all the new NIL stuff, with the transfer portal stuff, and with the new junior college rules. So we're going to kind of break down like what I would do if I was a sophomore, if I was a junior in high school. What if I was going into my senior year and I had no varsity film, I had no offers? What are some of the options that I have? So hope this is information you could take with you. I really think this is valuable for any athlete to know, no matter what age you are, any parent to know, just because the more information you know, the better. And there are a lot of people out there that charge for this type of information. They'll say, hey, you know, pay me $500 and we'll do a consultation for your kid. Like, this is completely free, you guys, and this is information that I feel you need to know if you want to play college football. So what would I do? Like, we're going to give two kind of scenarios. So first scenario is like, let's say you just got done with your sophomore season in the fall. You're going into your junior year. Let's say you started on varsity, right? So you started on varsity, you had your sophomore year, and you want to play college football. What should you do? So first things first, at the end of the year, you need to make, obviously, a full season highlight tape. So let's say you played 10 games. You should be able to make a highlight tape for those 10 games. Now, for those 10 games, your highlight tape should honestly be, guys, maybe anywhere from like 2 minutes to 3 minutes, I would say, is kind of the sweet spot. Most college coaches that watch your film generally watch maybe like 30 to 40 seconds, and they already have their mind made up because they've seen so much talent, they've scouted so many players all across the country that like they kind of like know what to look for, if that makes sense. So what I would say is you want to make that tape short, sweet, to the point, and it has actual highlights on there. So what do I mean by that? Now, you can take this as you want no matter what position you play, but if you're like, let's say, a wide receiver, a highlight is you catching like a slant, breaking a tackle, and go running 20 yards and scoring. A highlight is not a 10-yard post versus zone coverage where it's just an average route and you're wide open and you catch a touchdown. Like, yes, everybody loves touchdowns. Yes, you want to include those maybe on your tape, but like, guys, we want highlights. College coaches at the end of the day want to see if you're an explosive playmaker. So that's what your film should show, and that's at any position: offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, receiver. Can you make plays, and are you an explosive athlete, especially if you're a skill position player? So you need your film. That's the first thing, and that would be if you're a freshman on varsity, sophomore on varsity, junior on varsity, whatever. And notice how I'm saying on varsity. If you're a freshman player and you played freshman football, if you're like a sophomore and you played JV football and you're watching this video, I would take it as information. What's information when I get to varsity level ball? Because no recruiting can be done without a varsity level film or varsity level highlights. College coaches want to see what you can do at the highest level possible of high school football. Now, some people, I'm not saying that it's bad to play JV or it's bad to play freshman. It's just a lot of people will make highlight tapes for that and send it to coaches. Coaches will not watch it, you guys, because coaches could care less about your freshman film, JV film. Like, yeah, it's great, it's cool. Like, if you did well, fantastic, especially if you're in a big school, but that's not going to get you recruited. Anytime you see this BS on social media, like, oh, this 7th grader or this 8th grader got an offer from here, got an offer from there, it's fake, you guys. There are tons of fake offers. And fake offers is just non-committable. It's like verbal. And like, honestly, it's complete BS. Like, if they don't have varsity film, they're just offering them for hype, or they were paid to do it. That's a real thing. Like, athletes will pay, well, I shouldn't say athletes, parents will pay assistant college coaches a couple $1,000s to give their kid a verbal offer so they could post it on social media to create like hype and like it's all crap. You see stuff online that you're like, what the heck? That doesn't make any sense. Chances are you're probably right. Like, trust that gut instinct is what I'm trying to say, okay? Now, let's get back on track. So you got varsity film. Let's say you're a sophomore. The first thing that I would do is make a social media account on X, okay? So X, I call it Twitter. That's what I grew up with, but X is what it's called now. That's where college coaches go. I don't think Instagram, you know, like, it's one thing, right? Like, I could say Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, like, you don't necessarily need those for recruiting. Nowadays with like NIL and stuff like that, if that's like maybe a dream or a goal of yours, absolutely. You know, you could go on Instagram, post your stuff on TikTok, post on YouTube, and, you know, try to build like kind of a personal brand to maybe help you out with like endorsements later on down the line. I'm not anti that. I'm not against that. But if you just want to play college football, you should be on X. Again, formerly known as Twitter. Now, say what you want about X. I've talked about X before in videos, and I'll get messages from parents and they'll say, you know, like, well, like, it's such a cesspool. Like, there's all kinds of hate on there. Listen, guys, there's hate on every social media platform. Like, I've had the worst possible things said about myself. I've seen some of the worst possible things said about other people. Like, that's just the world that we live in. Not everybody is nice. And I'm a firm believer that, like, you know, you could wrap your kid in bubble wrap, but at the end of the day, like, you eventually got to kind of let them go. So if you're younger, like 10, 11, 12, like, I probably wouldn't put my kids on social media if I had kids. But when they got to like 8th grade, high school, I would start to, like, you know, be like, hey, we're going to do this, but here's what you need to know about this. Here's what you need to know going in. Just so they have a good idea of it, right? But it's for business. It's for work, if you will. Like, me personally, like, I post and interact with you guys. I don't scroll on social media because I honestly think it's bad for you. I think if you're on there for a purpose, and my purpose is to educate you guys on football and to provide you with value, entertainment, however you want to think of it, I love doing that. That's why I'm on there. But I'm not consuming other people's stuff and just like mindlessly scrolling unless I'm watching a podcast or an interview that could give me some type of value. That's what I would recommend. So, like, I'm not a big fan of social media, but you need it. You need it to be able to get recruited, especially if you're in a small school. So I would make that social media account on X. And now what I would include on there is the bio is important because it stands out to coaches. And then you need to make sure that the page is set up correctly. So your bio should state your position. So, like, let's use an example. Let's say the kid's name is John Johnson, right? And he's a quarterback in the class of 2027, and he lives in Dallas, Texas, okay? So what I would say in your bio, your profile photo should be just like a picture of you in some type of football environment. It should say quarterback, class of 2027. Obviously, your name's got to be on there, John Johnson. Quarterback, class of 2027. I would put the school that you attend, Dallas, Texas. And then below that, I would have a link to your highlight tape. Also, if you have some marketable attributes about yourself, like your height or your weight, maybe you were first team all league, you can include that in your bio as well. I wouldn't include your height and weight unless it makes you stand out. So if you're a QB and you're like 5'9" in high school, don't include that. That's what I was. Never talked about my height. In fact, I lied about my height all the time. Don't do that either. But if you're like 6'2" in high school, yeah, include that. I think that's very marketable. Now, you have your film, you have the X account. What do you do with it now? So what I recommend now is trying to follow different college coaches. So we have a website that we developed where we have a list of over 500 different college coaches, like all from all across the country. We have their position, the school that they attend, their name, and we link it to their Twitter profile so you could follow them and interact with them on there. If you guys would like a link to that website, just post in the comments below that you'd like the coach's link, and I could send that right over to you. That would be no problem. So, and I read and answer every comment, so don't worry about it not being seen, you guys. I will send that over to you. So what I recommend is, you know, finding different college coaches. You know, going and, you know, shooting them messages, talking to them, interacting with them. But how would you actually interact with them? Because I say that, and a lot of athletes will tell me, like, well, coach, I send 100 DMs and nobody answers them. It's like, well, you might be going about it the wrong way. The goal with DMing coaches is to build a relationship. It is extremely rare that you could just DM your highlights to some coach and he'll just offer you on the spot. That's extremely rare. That hardly never happens, especially if you're an unknown player, right? So generally what it is, it's about opening a line of communication. I'm not a fan of athletes just being like, hey, coach, check out my film. Hey, coach, I'd love to go to your school. Check out my film. Like, guys, they're not idiots. Like, if they want to look at your film, it's in your bio. So what I would do is I would reach out with some type of hook. Hey, coach, I'm a class of 2027 quarterback. I'm 6'2", 185 pounds. I was wondering if you had any camps coming up this offseason. Ask them a simple question. Keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Because most of these coaches, their inboxes are filled with hundreds of DMs that are pages and pages and pages long because guys write their whole life stories to them. Like, fellas, they don't have that kind of time to read that and to do that. So just try to keep it short and sweet, because that will actually make you stand out. The thing about DMs is you want to be able to stand out. Like, I think of it like it's kind of funny, but like DMing a girl, for example. Like, if you're DMing a girl and you want to like go out with her, like if you send her the same DM that she gets from 100 different dudes, like, you're so pretty, I'd love to take you out, like, she's probably not going to respond because she gets that all the time and she thinks you're just like everybody else. I'm not saying that coaches just think you're like everybody else, but just bear with me here. But if you send them something like funny or something like sarcastic, and maybe it's like really short and like sweet and to the point, she might see that and open it, right? Maybe she gets like a little like offended by it and wants to respond. There you go. Now you got the line of communication going. So think of that like a college coach situation, right? Obviously, it shouldn't be the same things that you're saying, but you should still be messaging them something short, sweet, some kind of hook. Ask them a question, because they're more likely to respond to that. And at the end of the day, the goal is communication. The goal is building a relationship, especially if you're a sophomore or even a junior in high school, because that's the situation that we're talking about right here, right? So if he responds and says, hey, we have a camp on this date. Okay, coach, that's great. Thank you. I'm going to look into attending, right? Let's say you sign up for that camp. Then I would message the coach, hey, coach, just signed up for your camp. Really look forward to meeting you. Maybe you should check, I would love it if you could check out my film. Then maybe send him the film, second message, right? Date gets closer. Hey, coach, really excited to come to your camp. Attend the camp. Maybe you do really well. Maybe you don't. Maybe talk with the coach after the fact. DM him after me. Hey, coach, really enjoyed working with you. Thank you for your time. So then the next season, you have a contact that you have already built up a relationship with that you could send your film to. And I think sophomores should do that. Freshmen should do that. Juniors in high school should all follow that exact same process. And you do that with multiple coaches, you guys. You can literally take 30 to 40 minutes a day and find these college coaches and interact with them like that. It's not that hard. Take it from me. On Instagram, I spend probably an hour to an hour and 20 responding to DMs and messages from people. Like, I read and respond to generally every single one. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that, right? And it takes about an hour, hour 20, but like, guys, nobody's that busy. Nobody has freaking 14 hours a day where they're jam-packed with stuff and they can't take the time. Like, while you're sitting in the car, while your mom or dad's driving you, like, just take the time to do it. Okay, you got to take the time, you got to put in the effort to interact with these coaches about building relationships, because then the following year when you get good film, those are guys that you can send it to. And maybe that school's not interested in you right now, but maybe that coach goes to another school and his Twitter profile is still going to be the same, and then maybe he's looking for a quarterback, a receiver, a running back, and that's how you build a real relationship, using social media and using your film. There are a lot of companies out there, guys, that are like, oh, we're going to put you on, we're going to charge you X amount of money, we're going to put you on to our coaches. Guys, you can do all that yourself. Like, seriously, you can do all of it yourself, and college coaches would rather hear from the athlete directly than from some middleman that they don't know. If you got an athlete and a middleman who doesn't know any college coaches, these coaches are just signed up on their email list, and they say, hey, check out this player, check out that player, check out this player. Hey, we got 100 players right here, here you go. There's no personal relationship there. But when the coach is interacting with you as an athlete, like, individually, there is a personal relationship there. So that's how I recommend going about it. If you're a freshman, you started on varsity, sophomore started on varsity, junior started on varsity, you're prepping for the next year. Your goal is to build a contact list so you can build relationships, and then the next year, that's when you're like, hey, here's my film. Oh, I remember that kid. He sent me his film last year. Did he improve? Okay, cool. Maybe we come out to his school, and that's how the process starts going, you guys. And that's not a one-size-fits-all. Some of you might get your film checked out and the coach might love you right off the bat if you have really good film. It varies, right? It can vary based on how good you are, but that's generally the process of how things would go. Now, some of you might be asking me, Coach, great advice, but I'm going into my senior year and I don't have varsity film, but I still want to play college ball. What should I do? So here's the thing. The reality of the situation is very tough. And I'm going to be real, nowadays with the way college football is, it is becoming much, much harder for high school athletes to go D1. Just a fact. It's becoming insanely hard for high school athletes to go D1. Simply because if I'm a college coach, right, and let's say I need to get 3 receivers, I'm going to look in the transfer portal first because I know that those guys probably already know how to be a college athlete. They know the schedule. I don't have to teach them much. They can just come in, plug in, bam, fit the program, and we can roll, and they can start tomorrow. So I'm looking at the portal, and there's hundreds of athletes in the portal. And then I'm looking at junior colleges. Junior colleges have a new rule, if you're not familiar, and that rule is that you could go to a junior college for 2 years, get your associate's degree, but still have 4 years of NCAA eligibility at a D1 school. So that's crazy, you guys. So now I got 2 extra years of development. I'm recruiting 20-year-olds who are going to be in my program until they're 23, 24. That changes the game, right? So college coaches are pulling from more areas now, right? And they also got D2 guys, D3 guys that are already in the portal. It's just really, really hard for a high school athlete to get a D1 offer. You got to be a stud to get a D1 offer. Now, that's not the only offer you should be shooting for. Like, you go D2, D3, NAIA. I'm not knocking anybody. It's just a lot of people want to go D1. They have dreams and aspirations of going D1, but it's very hard nowadays. And is it fair? I don't think it is, but that's my personal opinion, and that's the way, and I'm not going to be able to change anything. I can't put a post out there and say, hey, NCAA changed this. They're going to tell me to go kick rocks. So we got to deal with it, and we got to be able to work with it, right? So if you're going into your senior year, I would not think D1 right now. I'm not trying to crush any dreams here. I'm just saying, I wouldn't think D1 right away. I would think, okay, I'm going to follow the same strategy that I just talked about on Twitter, but I'm not going to send them my film because you don't have any film to show for yourself. But what you should be doing is posting on Twitter clips of you lifting in the offseason, training, doing certain things, spring ball, like spring practice, have some type of social media presence and some type of film. That's all I'm asking you guys to do. Now, I would reach out to college coaches and ask them the same thing about camps. Camps are insanely important for you guys going into your senior year that don't have offers. Simply because, guys, if you don't have any offers, coaches are going to need to see you with their own. If you don't have any film, let's put it that way. You're going to your senior year, you don't have any film. Coaches are going to need to see you with their own eyes because they're like, well, he doesn't have any film. Like, how do I know he's pretty good? Like, anybody can talk a big game. I can tell you I'm better than Tom Brady right now. Nobody believes me because I haven't proven it, right? So nobody thinks you're a D1 prospect, D2, D3 because you haven't proven it. You don't have any film, right? So they're going to need to see you with their own eyes. So going out to camps is super important. So when you DM them, you should be DMing them, hey, do you have any camps coming up? Camps coming up, camps coming up. Send that to as many coaches as you can and then pick and choose the camps that you want to go to, right? Go to those camps, you got to perform. You got to turn some heads at those camps. So those coaches want to talk to you. Hey, listen, let's stay in contact when you get some film next year. Shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. What's your Twitter? Right? That's kind of how the process goes for you guys going into your senior year with no film. So what I would focus on doing is when you get to your senior year, after the first 5 games, make a mid-season highlight tape. Start banging that out to those coaches that you just got connections with, right? Start banging it out, sending it to them. After your full season, start sending that to those coaches. And I recommend staying in coach range where it's like D2, D3, NAIA. Those are the schools that you're going to want to shoot for. Now, I'm not trying to discourage you. Like I said, D1 right now is not the biggest concern of yours, right? You could still go D1 because of how college football is nowadays. So let's say maybe all those D2, D3 schools, like let's say you're not in a financially stable position as a family. Maybe I shouldn't say stable, but maybe because tuition's ridiculous. That's a whole nother thing. But let's say they give you like a partial scholarship, but you're still dropping 40 G's on tuition. Family can't afford that. Not many families can, by the way, and these institutions, it's ridiculous. I could go on and on about the price of college tuition because I have my opinions about that, but these, it's just too much. Let's put it that way. And so let's say you can't afford that, so you want to go to a junior college. Fantastic. There's no shame in going to a junior college because guess what? You have 2 more years of development, and like we mentioned, then you could go to a college and be eligible for 4 years, and you could transfer to a D1, maybe to a D2, whatever, and get a better scholarship offer. So don't be so concerned with D1 right now. I think so many people have this recruiting process built up in their head where they're like, it needs to be this way, this way, this way. Like they see all the 5-star guys and the 4-star guys and like, oh, he started as a freshman. Okay, he got his first offer here. He verbally committed here. He played on this. No, guys, everybody's recruiting journey is different and you need to understand that. And it's not about getting the D1 right now. It's not about getting to college right now and getting a scholarship right now. It's about just getting a scholarship. So be patient. Understand the process is very, very different nowadays, and the process can be different for a lot of athletes, okay? So I hope that makes sense, you guys. I hope that was able to clear the air on a lot of things when it comes to recruiting. Now, before we get into some current events and we talk about Kyren Lacy, Nico Iamaleava, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver watching this video, guys, and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches, we're going to be traveling out to 7 more more cities across the entire country this year for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So we've already been to 8 states. All 8 of those camps I've completely sold out, and the camps that we're going to be having in Houston, Columbus, and Birmingham, Alabama are completely sold out now. So we actually only have available spots in 4 camps. The camps are going to be Newark, New Jersey. We have available spots. We have available spots in our Boise, Idaho camp, Los Angeles, California camp, and then we have one other spot, Boston, Massachusetts. So if you guys are local to one of those cities that we just listed, Newark, New Jersey, Boston, Massachusetts, Boise, Idaho, Los Angeles, California, go to that very first link in the description below, guys. That's where you can sign up to train with myself and my staff. We do this training camp every single year, and the goal of our training camp is to actually develop athletes. I think a lot of times at camps, people don't know what to expect, or people expect certain things because of other camps where it's like, it's going to be a million people there, just going to go as fast as they can. There's not going to be any development. That's not what we do. We do the polar opposite of that. So if you screw up on something, we take the time to teach you, explain to you certain things. Hey, this is how it works. This is how you can improve. And we work with each athlete individually. So if that's something of interest to you, you're in one of those cities, guys, go to that very first link in the description below. That is where you can sign up. Let's get into some current events here, okay? Because we have a lot to talk about, all right? So current event number 1, obviously the one that everybody heard about. Sources lay out family drama and blame of Nico Iamaleava's unprecedented exit from Tennessee following the NIL holdout. I freaking love what Tennessee did. I love it, man. Like, and I'm not trying to hate on Nico. I don't blame Nico. I blame the people in his corner, whether that's his dad. See, he's a Southern California guy. I'm a Southern California guy. I know a lot of people in the football world down here. Everybody's got their opinions. Most people's opinions are my opinions, by the way. But most people are saying that it's his dad and, you know, stuff like that. You know, hey, whatever. And I've heard positive things about his dad. I heard his dad's a good guy. His dad's, you know, kind of like a little hard-headed, like, you know, he wants things done his way. But for the most part, he's a good coach. He runs a good 7-on-7 organization. I've heard positive things, right? But now it's coming out that they were talking about holding out before the college football playoff last year to get more money. Scumbag move, in my opinion. That's just me. I don't think you do that to your teammates. That's just that. It shows you that, like, you know, I'm not saying Nico's this way, but it comes off that he's just purely an individual. Like, it comes off this way. That's what I'm trying to say. It comes off that he's purely an individual. He could care less about the team winning. He could care less about the 10 other guys that line up on offense with him. All he cares about is getting a paycheck. And I mean, you know, listen, to each his own. If that's the way that you want to roll with things, that's the way you want to roll with things. I'm not mad at it. You have every right to feel that way, but it's just a scumbag move in my opinion. And that's probably the easiest way to lose respect from every single teammate that you have that's not making the big NIL money, you know? And like, so some people might argue that, like, oh, well, that's good business. I don't think it's good business. You're kind of biting the hand that feeds you, right? Like they're giving you $2 million a year and you're a 19, 20-year-old kid. Like, you should probably be a little bit more grateful for that, and like maybe, you know, like talk about that after the season and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about entering the portal. I would like more money. Not do the entire spring ball with them, and then right before spring ball happens, you say, hey, I'm not doing it anymore. I want to hold out. I freaking love that Tennessee held out. And they said, no, we're good. We're all set. We're going to roll with somebody else who wants to be with the team. I love it. Nobody is bigger than the team, and that's what college football needs to do. Now, it brings in these other arguments, right? Like we talked about it on a previous episode of this show where we were talking about a current event where, you know, they were talking about how they're going to lock college athletes into certain contracts where if you leave and go to the transfer portal, you're going to have to pay some of the NIL money back. When you see this happen and then you hear that argument, like that argument is like making college athletes pay the money back. Like that's a great way to put athletes in debt and take advantage of athletes. But at the same time, these schools are like, listen, we're investing all this money into this person for him to just go to the portal next year. Like this is ridiculous. Like we need to be protected as well. And how do you build a program when everybody is entering the portal and leaving? You have a different 11 starters every single year. Like, and I'm not saying that, you know, you need all 11 guys to be the same. Like, but like, you know, if the whole team's different every year, how do you build a culture? How do you build a team, right? So I love what Tennessee did. I think this changes a lot. I think athletes will think twice about it. And he was one of the biggest NIL guys coming out of high school. Like everybody talked about, like $8 million contract, this, that, the third. Like, and you know, some people say that's not exactly true. Like you read a lot of headlines in Southern California where I live, like like everybody was like, oh my God, he got paid $8 million. Like he didn't. Like, even his dad says that he didn't get paid that kind of money. But, like, you know, when you're holding out for more money like this, it just shows that you're an individual, man. You never want to be labeled like that. You never want to be labeled like that, especially as a quarterback of the team, because you are the leader of the team and everybody looks at you whether you like it or not. So I love what Tennessee did. I think that's great. Now, next current event. This is obviously a tragic incident. Ex-LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy died in apparent suicide, authorities say. So, yeah, man, I think we all heard the news. Tough thing to talk about. It's, you know, I think you never know what people are going through. I think allegedly what they say the situation was is that he, like, fired a gun in, like, I want to say it was like a hotel room or a house with, like, a girl, and he shot the floor. Then he got in his car, took off, and then apparently it was a, like, self-inflicted gunshot wound, and he was found dead, right? And awful story, man. I know he was dealing with some stuff like got arrested a little while back. It was for, like, kind of like a hit and run situation. He turned himself in, you know, he made bail, and I think he was kind of awaiting what was going to happen with all that, and guilt will eat you alive, man. Guilt will eat you alive. That's one thing that you know, maybe he shouldn't feel guilty for that type of stuff. You just never know what somebody's going through, and you never know where somebody's, like, mental health is at. And I'm not one to talk about mental health. Like, I'm not a guy who, like, you know, but it's important, man. It's important. You hear stories about guys doing stuff like this, girls doing stuff like this, and you never know, like I said, you never know what somebody's going through. And I think the piece of advice, because I'm always trying to give you guys some type of value, you know, I think the piece of advice I could give you is always be kind to people, always be kind to your teammates. You know, if you have friends that you know are going through something, whether you're middle school, high school, whatever, shoot them a text and check on them. That can mean the world to them. You know, I think, you know, I've never gone through anything as serious as that, but, you know, just like anybody else, right? We all have stuff that we battle every day in our head, whether we fear that we're not good enough, whether we're in, like, you know, like a toxic relationship, or whether you're dealing with toxic people in your life, and it can take a toll on you. I think the hardest part for me is, like, cloud and blurred, like, thinking, you know, like, especially if, like, I'm in a toxic situation, right? And I know I feel a whole hell of a lot better if I have, you know, just like a friend reach out or a family member reach out and say, like, hey, how's it going? You know, like, and I'm not, you know, don't worry about it. I'm not, like, you know, like suicide or anything like that, you know, obviously, but it's just, whenever you're going through something, it always feels good to have somebody check in on you that you know cares about you. So my piece of advice to you is you never know what somebody's going through. Don't be afraid to check up on your friend. Don't be afraid to check up on a family member if you know they're going through some stuff, because that can mean more to them than you actually know. So that's all I have to say about that. But tragic news, prayers to that family, and I can't imagine what they're having to go through. So guys, we're going to get into some questions now, fellas. So if you guys have questions, stuff you want to ask me, we feature them on every single episode of our show. So guys, in the comment section below, post your questions. I read and respond to literally every single question that you guys ask. So guys, post it in the comment section below, and I will answer your questions and feature them on another episode. So question number one this is a question I like to answer, from 800M W5T. Good video, coach. Or good vid. So, coach, I have a question for you. The next episode, if I'm an NFL team, if an NFL team were to email you right now saying that you got a spot on the coaching staff, and those two coaching spots are the wide receiver coach and the other was a QB coach, would you stop doing first down training and take one of those spots on an NFL team, or be loyal like you always are and deny the offer and keep doing what you were doing? I would deny the offer without a doubt. Wouldn't even think twice about it either. I think, like, and you know, it is what I like doing what I do because nobody really tells me what to do. Like, that's just kind of the way I am. Maybe I'm screwed up in the head somehow like that. But I don't like being told what to do. Like, that's just like, and you know, it's ironic because I played sports, but like, it's not, you know, I wouldn't do well with a boss. I coached for a school for a little bit, coached there for a year, hated it. I hated people telling me when I needed to do something, when I needed to do it, how I needed to do it. I hated it. I would rather just think for myself. Like, if I was the head coach of a program, I could probably buy into that. But I genuinely like doing what I do because just, you know, you wake up every day and I truly, like, I could care less if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I do the same stuff every day. I'm all about this. I'm all about our brand that we've been able to build. I'm constantly working with athletes, constantly doing the things that I want to do. And I recommend, I mean, like, if you're a young guy watching this, like, I think that you really should go after something that you love doing, whether that's football, whether that's in the football world, or just, you know, maybe being an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be. Like, I truly believe that that's the way to live. And I think that a lot of people, you know what, a lot of people like the security security of having a job and having a boss, and like they know that paycheck's going to be there every week, and that's fair. No hate. That's just not the way my mind works. But I recommend that to you guys. Like, you young guys, like, you have such an opportunity now with media, with social media. Like, there are so many more job opportunities, I feel, to do things that you actually enjoy and love. And I highly recommend going after the things that you want to do. Because listen, like, I'm blessed. I'm able to make, a decent living. A lot of guys I know don't make a ton of money doing what they do, but they're insanely happy. And that's the end of the day what matters. Like, you can't take all the money with you. It's not like, money's great. Obviously, money's great to have, and it helps you do a lot of things, but that's not everything. It's about waking up every day and truly being happy and like loving what you do is what I'm trying to say. And that's probably my best piece of advice for you young guys watching this, is that, don't settle. Do something that makes you happy every day. So appreciate you asking that question, man. I love talking about that type of stuff. Next question from Isaiah Zimmerman, M5W. So you were saying that I should pick a release and master it, then on most routes use the same release to fake out the DB. Yeah, essentially. I mean, I think for receivers, it's important to have about, I would say, like, anywhere from 4 to 6 press releases. And those 4 to 6 releases should all look somewhat similar, and those are the ones that you should rep out. Like, I think you should rep those out over and over again, and the goal is to be super comfortable with those to where you can't forget them, and they're going to be built off of different DB techniques. So I would have a release for inside shade press, head up press, outside shade press, inside shade 2 to 3 off, head up 2 to 3 off, or outside shade 2 to 3 off. And you should focus on those releases and rep those out and practice over and over again, because I truly believe that's what'll help. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, man. I think that'll help keep things simple, and you'll be able to play fast. Okay, now next question that we're going to go over: do you have any tips for people who want to play high school football but are worried about the workload? I want to play, but I'm scared I'm going to feel overworked. Yeah, man. So high school football, I'll be real with you, is nothing even compared to a college workload. So it's really not that bad. I think a lot of people, I think something they should teach in school, and maybe they teach this in some school districts. I know I was never taught it. You kind of have to learn it on your own. But time management skills, like being able to space out your day and being able to manage your time. And as a student athlete, that's super important. So I recommend, dude, maybe doing some research, look up some YouTube videos or whatever on like how to manage your time a little bit better. And like me personally, this is what I do. Like, I would write out a schedule for myself. So like, hey, 8 a.m. to 1:30, I have school. 1:30 to 2, 1:30 to 2:30, I have weights. 2:30 to 4:30, I have practice. 4:30 to 5:30, I'm doing homework. 5:30 to 6:30, maybe I do another workout on my own. Like, so I would map stuff out and write it out, and that kind of helped my mind stay focused, and I knew what I had to accomplish by the hour. So maybe that doesn't work for everybody, but that's something that helped me. And I think just better time management skills will make the workload totally manageable. It's nothing compared to a college workload. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I appreciate you asking that, man. Hope that was able to help. So guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in, especially if you watch this full thing. If you guys got questions, like I said, post them in the comments section below. Hope this video was able to give you some type of value, and we'll see you guys next time.